Are you proud of what you did, Jamal?
Instead of sitting around frustrated, it's better to keep moving forward.
Do you always want to live hiding behind the mask you put up for the sake of others? You're you, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Harlan, what happened to you?
My name is Harlan, your boy, and I wanted to talk about something that's been going on in the Roblox community, and a lot of people are talking about. Um, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's called the Doom by Fate situation surrounding the 1x update. Now, there's this story going around where a kid supposedly got killed because of, let's just say, epilepsy mode from Doom by Fate. That's not true. This is not true because if I go to Creekhouse video or go to anybody else's video, we can see that he lied about all of this and that is totally fake.
How does
It's because her next door neighbor is our friend, and then I don't know why they went in on there. I never asked them, but then I just remember that they texted me and they said Kit's having a seizure, and then I just had to run over there.
This doesn't really make sense because how, first of all, how does the person even know that Kit is having an entire seizure? Because it doesn't really make sense if they're in an entirely different room and they just know. I don't really get that.
And right now they're like taking a long break from communicating with people because this shit hit hard on them.
Okay. Okay, so they get to they find her. How old is the neighbor, by the way?
I think at 19. I think they're 19.
Does the 19-year-old live with their parents?
Yeah.
So where were the parents in all this?
I think they were asleep. I really don't know, but I don't remember her parents or her parents being there.
So the next door, this dude's neighbor is having a seizure. He does not. This is where I'm starting to question things. So he doesn't wake his parents up when the next door neighbor is having a seizure.
I guess
Okay.
I wanted to ask them why, but still they're taking a long break from communicating with people.
Okay.
Ever had like a friend that had a seizure or just like was getting kind of messed up? I would kind of tell my parents first because they are known to go and help and try to find any way or any sort of way that they can help. And my second one is, you mean the parents are taking a break, but you just said that the friend was taking a break. It kind of confuses me right there because what do you mean?
Okay. The parents are taking a long break from communicating with people, is what you're saying.
Do.
So 19-year-old neighbor finds her, calls EMS, and then calls you. Is that right?
They called me, and then when I got there, they were in the middle of calling EMS. Well, they texted me, then they started calling EMS.
So this girl's like struggling to, like, she is having a seizure on the ground, for all intents and purposes, dying.
I still don't know why they told me.
Yeah, I'm like, why would they call you like, you're 13? What are you gonna do? Why not call 911?
Somebody that's just friends. Supposedly, I put air quotes up for this. Friends with that person confuses me because I will call 911 before I tell anybody else because they're more important than somebody, a random person on Discord. Doesn't make sense.
Like, I know how to do CPR and stuff, but I don't think that's gonna help.
Days ago, and one thing you don't do when you're doing CPR is you don't do it when somebody's actively breathing. I mean, it's a Caesar. No one, they're breathing, so there's no point of doing CPR on them at all.
First off, let me ask you this. He calls you, you say you go over. How do you get there if you're 13?
I'm fucking running. Like, I'm running as fast as I can to get over there.
So you ran from your house to your friend. Like, how far do you guys live apart?
About 15 blocks apart.
So
You have to be crazy for saying that because why are you running 15 blocks to somebody that you don't even know personally? They're older than you. You're 13, they're 20, and you're talking to a 20 and 19-year-old. Is nobody talking about this? Like, isn't that just confusing?
So my question was, so I had to take a CPR class in high school as a part of like the health. We took a health class, and part of our grade was getting like CPR certified or whatever. And like one of the things they teach you during that is that you never perform CPR on someone that is like that doesn't need it. So if they're breathing, even if it's like if they're breathing, period, you don't perform CPR. Also, if someone's actively having a seizure, like there's procedures there too. You turn them on their side because you don't want them to choke on their tongue or whatever. There's certain procedures there. So my question is like, if you know CPR, who taught you CPR? Because you definitely would not want to perform CPR in a situation where they're still breathing.
On a breathing person, and like and then you just say, "Oh." Like, did you not know about that? Like, a person who does CPR should know about that because that's important because you might end up killing that person.
I get put in the waiting room. I told them I'm here for her name. And then when I get in there, I see she's on a fucking operating table. Well, not an operating table. She's in a hospital bed.
Yep.
And then her heartbeat started slowing, so they got her into surgery. And then, but when I say I watched her die, I was watching through the fucking window in the door.
From the window? Excuse me? Because I've been in a hospital before and there was no window in there. Like, you can't physically see it. That's like, it's not possible, and you're not allowed into that room without it, like you're not a family member basically, so you shouldn't be even going in there. And the second thing is you're 13 going into the hospital. You need a legal guardian or just a grown-up with you, because why would they let a 13-year-old walk into a room? Doesn't make sense.
I don't know why they had a window in the hospital door while I was watching.
So you were watching them do surgery through the window.
Yes.
That's a lie, because there is no window in the operating room, because that's just, you don't want to see somebody in there. Trust me, you don't.
My question, and look, I don't work at a hospital, so maybe I'm wrong here, but I don't think a hospital would like. I question a hospital letting a 13-year-old watch a surgery through a window without any parents being
They
there.
didn't know.
Yes, they didn't know. How did they not know? Did they not see you in the room with that person? Excuse me? Because didn't you just say they came into the room? How do you know that they came into the room? You have to be in there to know that they went into the room and grabbed them and took them all the way to the operating room. You say you went there to go see her. So that has to be a lie.
So Well, how hospitals work, though, is they have patient areas and then they have the emergency operating section. And in order to get into those sections, you usually have to have like some sort of key card or some sort of like pass to get in there. How did you get in there?
Yeah, I didn't even go over that. You need a key card to go inside, and like all around the building, there's going to be key cards in there that a doctor or somebody else needs to go through a door and go into different rooms. How did you get in there? That's also my question.
Sure.
I have tried to kill myself over these death threats because I've been getting such an abysmal amount of them. It's starting to take a toll on my own mental state.
The thing is, Doom by Fate is going to get death threats, of course, because why in the heck did they write that? And I'll get into that topic a little later, because no one really deserves death threats at all anyway. But why are they sending you death threats when you didn't do anything wrong? And I'm not saying that death threats are good and stuff, but it's wrong to send a death threat in, and then on top of this, you're lying about something else. It just doesn't add up to me.
I just want to make it clear, like, you do realize that what you're, like, if this is false and not true, you could be looking at a defamation lawsuit because you have now convinced the entire internet that this group of developers have inadvertently killed your friend. Not to mention, depending on the situation, like, you were going to do you mentioned a charity event for your friend.
That isn't confirmed to happen at all.
Yeah, because if this was false and this didn't happen, and you did a charity event raising money for someone that passed that's charity fraud. Like, that's, you've now entered into
a lawsuit from Doom by Fate because of you lying of this, because there's evidence of you lying actually, and I'm not saying like this is a really bad situation too. I mean, lying about somebody's death on the internet and then getting the entire internet like blowing up about this is just crazy to me, and that you could be looking at a lawsuit, a very bad lawsuit. Creecraft also went over this in his recent video, and I'll put a clip up.
Says basically get his side of the story here. I had sent a voice note with all the questions that I wanted to ask, and I told him what the questions were and where to find them. So first, he says that NYZ, the person that sent this message right here, is not part of the staff team. They're not on the dev team, nor are they on the mod team. They were a volunteered Trello manager to do information sites for our game. I should point out here that the developers of this game are they're from Asia, they're from Thailand, so their English isn't perfect here. But the guy who sent this message right here was not on the dev team or anything like that. They were simply making, I guess, wikis for the game. They said he was nice and joyful before every from Asia, they're from Thailand, so their English isn't perfect here. But the guy who sent this message right here was not on the dev team or anything like that. They were simply making, I guess, wikis for the game. They said he was nice and joyful before everything happened. We had zero awareness about his behavior. We immediately applied punishment to him as soon as he showed the disrespectful behavior. I should point out, too, that the developers said that they were all asleep whenever this was going on because, again, they're from Asia, they're from Thailand, and so they woke up and all this was happening and they were being accused of, murdering this person. And so they claimed that they had no idea of any of this until, they woke up because, obviously, time zones. My second question was, did you ignore the feedback about adding an epilepsy mode to the game? Because, obviously, if you have a character or something in the game that has flashy lights or anything that could trigger epilepsy, epilepsy, then you need to have some sort of toggle or warning in the game. They said, no, we did not neglect the suggestions and feedback. We were actively working on the epilepsy toggle. We launched a hotfix regarding this issue. Everything is fixed now. Basically, I ended up talking a little bit further here, but the gist of the situation is they added the 1X update on Sunday. That update came with an epilepsy toggle. That toggle, unfortunately, did not work. It was bugged. Now, since the developers were asleep whenever they figured out that it was bugged and not working, they had to get a separate developer to come in and fix the bug, which they say they had fixed in roughly about a day or so, a little bit under a day, half a day to a day. Exactly. I then asked who all these people were in this screenshot here. As you can see, the ones that I was showing, these right here, for example, the ones I was showing before. And they say all the presented individuals within the screenshot besides Josh aren't staff and in any way do not represent the game or the development team themselves. They were literally just people with artist and conceptor roles. I'm guessing for some reason if you had an artist tag on your Discord profile for this game, you could still chat whenever the server was like muted or paused or whatever. Not really sure why, but that seems to be the case here. I said, quick recap. Most of the dev team was sleeping during this because they were in Asia. The people making the comments on Discord aren't even on the dev team. And the epilepsy mode was included with the update, but bugged out and was fixed within a day and was in the process of being fixed before all of this even happened. Is that accurate? They said, exactly. I then asked who this guy is here, the DA.
This is all true. You're not. This happened.
If Pickett wants to do it for the stream,
Oh no, I
yes.
mean the entire situation.
Yes.
My thoughts on this entire situation is that he lied, and there's evidence to prove that he lied, and that just don't harass anybody you see online. Really, it's kind of bad. Even if he was telling the truth about getting death threats and stuff like that, don't do any of that. That's really bad. And Doomed by Fate has fixed their situation by putting the epilepsy mode back on there after it got fixed. So the thing is with Doomed by Fate, if you're watching this, but you're probably not, make sure you check your stuff before releasing it, because it could be bugged. And you want to check that stuff before releasing it because you don't want anything bad happening. Because if this was real, this could have went really, really bad. But that's all I have to say for now. So hit the subscribe button, and hopefully you guys will be safe out there. And remember, you're always loved, and that's just a fact. So, see you guys in the next one. Peace.